student representatives.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. I just want to thank you so much for your hard work in setting this up. Going to the student council meeting last week was so great to see all of our motivated students participating, and I'm sure you were developing questions, and you know, we're here to serve you guys. We're here to serve the students. We're here to serve the community, and those are our main goals. So we want to continue this dialogue and discussion going. Of course, I may not have all the answers for you today, but you know, I will do the best that I can at the questions I'm not able to answer, that I'm able to get answers for you. Okay, we are a team, we are a family, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm very happy that this group of students is the first time ever that we're having a fall Unity Summit. So we're ready. Let's go.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Cardone. And I am going to ask that each of our student representatives, when you come up to the mic, please introduce yourself, tell us your name, grade, and what club or activity or sport you're here representing today. So without further ado, let's start with Ms. Sarai Mullings.
Good morning. My name is Sarai Mullings. Thank you for coming out. I'm in 10th grade and I'm representing Tri-Am Honor Society. So my question is, lots of clubs sell unhealthy snacks during the school day or directly after school. What are the restrictions of this and why are they not enforced?
So, and I'll say what my understanding is, and we'll have to make sure I'm correct later. But my understanding is during the school day, you may have seen me in the hallway saying that we cannot sell, you know, these brownies or whatever those snacks are during the school day. Once the school time period is over, that may present an opportunity for students to sell different types of, you know, candies and things like that. But I will have to get the official answer for you. But that's what I would believe to be the case.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if I'm like crossing boundaries with my answer. I think that like a lot of people in the world, human beings, naturally don't like rules, right? Like libertarians. The more, you know, and I think that a lot of rules that we have in place, it's a good idea that we shouldn't give certain freedoms to young children, right? Wait till they get 18, and then they can decide if they want to wear their seatbelt or wear a helmet. When it comes to, like, so it's interesting to me that the first question was like, I want more rules and regulations. Why am I getting nervous? What I wanted to say was, I think that once we leave high school, we're not gonna, like, be able to control, you know, fast food and unhealthy food being shoved in our face and advertised every corner. So it might be a good practice to exercise like resisting temptation. I understand because when I come like to things like tonight, I see the cupcakes and I'm like, I want that. But I'm like, I don't want to be eating unhealthy food. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if that was a good answer.
To clarify, I just wanted to know like the restrictions for my club. Like I understand your point, but I just wanted to know like if I could sell like snacks during the school day. That's all I wanted to know. Because like my advisor doesn't really want to do it, but I feel like that's how we can make more money for our club.
So during the school day, you aren't allowed to sell because we want you to eat the school lunch because it is healthy and it is good for you. But after school, you can sell.
Okay, thank you.
I totally misunderstood the question.
Hi, my name is Anjali Prasad. I'm in 12th grade. I'm also representing Tri-Am. My question is about school spirit. I think that the past 3 years of my high school career, I feel like students aren't as excited for activities in the school. So I was just wondering if we have any like ideas to increase the school spirit.
So it's funny that you say that because I feel like this year we've been promoting school spirit a lot. We've had 3 different spirit weeks. We brought back Unity Day. We're bringing back a holiday Unity Day, and we have some other things in store, possibly prior to the holiday break, which will be another Spirit Week. At the Student Council, we talked about something for Thanksgiving. So yeah, those ideas come from the students. We're also having a winter dance in December. And this is a really strong area of my administrative team in terms of wanting to raise the school spirit. So we are partners in that, and especially with our clubs, advisors, student council, student government. These ideas come from you. So any ways that we can continue to improve the school spirit, we want to do. We had costumes for the first times, and I think since I've worked here for Halloween. And the staff really got involved with that as well, which was nice. So I think we're making some strides in the right direction, but we could always do better.
So I love school spirit. It's one of my most favorite things. You know, I'm a graduate from Amityville. I live in Amityville. This is my home. You are my people, I promise. But we have to really encourage not only each other, you have to be brave. Some people are way too worried about what they're gonna look like if they participate and look silly. So we have to be a little vulnerable. We have to have fun, not take ourselves so seriously in these kind of areas where it's supposed to be a spirit week. And we have to encourage our teachers too. You know, hey, what are you gonna dress up? Let's do this. But I think a big thing is we need to advertise it a little bit sooner and a little bit better and get the word out a lot. Because, you know, some of the Spirit Week started a little later. I said, oh, we didn't know. Of course, I have it posted on my door, and 50 gazillion of you come to my room, so you should see it. But I think it's really important to encourage each other to get dressed and participate and do these things, and to ask your teachers also what they're going to do so they know that you're looking for it. Because the more involved we get and the more we push, the more we ask, the more involved we get, the more push, and it's a positive cycle. So come on, let's do that.
One thing is, this is your town. You have to be passionate. We all love, I love Amityville, that's why I'm here, but you have to love Amityville as well. You have to talk to your community members, make sure your parents know what's happening as well. School spirit starts with community spirit and repping where you're from. Like, the Ville is supposed to be a thing. You're supposed to love where you live. And when you love where you live, it shines. And like Nurse Amy says, she's a part of you, and I am now too. So I always participate, but when we have spirit weeks and then student council isn't involved, or they're not dressing up, then it kills spirit. You have to be the loudest ones. The cheerleaders have to be the loudest people at the game because they have to get everyone to buy in. The student council, y'all have to be the ones that are dressing up all the time, promoting it, being excited, even if you're not, because your thing didn't get selected. You have to come with the spirit so that everybody buys in.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is April Kenny. I'm a senior, and I am representing National Art Honor Society. My question is, how are you going to fix the communication with parents, considering their children, like with Parent Square and report cards, and communication with students, considering school events like college fairs, Unity Day, and more?
So this is an area that we've been working really hard on. I don't know how many of you follow our Instagram or my Instagram, but we are constantly posting what's happening. I send out weekly Parent Square messages to parents. Also, what I'm going to start doing is, I don't know how many of you are aware, I know some of you are, but last week I met with about 42 students in the cafeteria to hear from them what we can improve, and what I'm going to start doing is emailing out my Parent Square to students as well. In terms of the college fair, we did the robocall, we did the Parent Square, we put it on the website, we put it on the digital screen, we emailed the students, we did announcements. So I'm definitely open for other ways to communicate to students and the community. But this is an area that we are working really hard on. If you notice that the first Meet the Teachers night, we had different organizations in the cafeterias, we had different clubs representing. We also asked for representation at this parent-teacher conference night. We had students in the building, bilingual students in the building, walking around assisting students during Meet the Teachers night. We're doing that again tonight. So again, we are open to ways to effectively communicate with all stakeholders. Right now, I feel like we are, doing the best that we can, but we certainly can continue to improve with input.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Paula Flores, and I'm here for National Art Honor Society. My question is, why don't we have more prerequisites or recommendation forms for certain classes such as AP or art classes? Because some people are thrown into those classes and cause a disruption to the students who want to be there. A part of that question is, why don't we offer alternative classes like honor classes and or more super college level courses?
Okay, so in terms of AP enrollment, we can go to, and so the scheduling process is starting now for 25-26, so we're hearing you. In terms of AP courses, there is plenty of research that shows that students that are in AP perform better in college, even if perhaps they're having a tough time in there. Right now, our philosophy is not having a, there's no gatekeeping to AP classes. So if you want to challenge yourself, we want to give you that opportunity to challenge yourself. Last year we had Future Me Week. This year we're expanding that. We really want students to know about the classes, to make informed decisions, and each student is going to meet with their guidance counselor. So in those conversations, it's important to talk about the classes that you're requesting. It's important to look and see how we're performing in our current classes. But we don't want to not offer a class to a student, that they do want to challenge themselves to take. So I'm not sure if I answered everything. In terms of honors, that's a conversation, that we do have certain years, and that's a conversation that we can certainly have. I'm not sure about 25, 26, but we can certainly revisit the conversation.
All right, thank you.
Paula, I have a follow-up question and then I want to have a comment. So are you saying that students are in the class and they don't want to be there, or are you saying students are in the class and they're disruptive? Because those are two different things.
Both.
Both. So what we have at our school is called open enrollment. And open enrollment, as Dr. Cardone stated, it helps give access to rigorous education for all. We don't want to have an elitist culture where kids are not allowed to challenge themselves because, like he said, statistics show students who are in rigorous courses do better in college. And that's our goal, is to get you ready for college. Another thing that helps you get ready for college is being in an integrated classroom with students who are not always like you academically or socially. It helps to socialize you, and that is exactly what school is for, to help you be able to function around people that don't behave the way that you behave, so that they can see how you do it and maybe adapt to the way that you do things. So it doesn't just help those students, it also helps you, because when you get into the workforce, you are gonna work with people who don't act like you. Right? And you're gonna have to learn how to maneuver with those people and be respectful, as well as understand that everybody comes from different walks of life. So it helps you to be more understanding as well. So it helps them see you and you to see them and function in society, which is our ultimate goal, to be well-rounded citizens.
Such a good answer. She speaks like a politician. Okay. I feel like that was a great question so far, best question. We're not supposed to say that, but I think that it is a super sensitive topic. If you listen to the two responses from the administrators, it's very, very hard to argue against creating a fair, level playing field, equity, ensuring every student has the opportunity to challenge themselves. But I definitely think that your question is it's worth, I think asking the question is the first step to change, right? It's gonna be difficult to go up against these answers, but I think that it's the only way it's gonna change and create a better learning environment is if there's outside pressure. So like, we need to hear this concern, magnified by parents, the community, and there needs to be like more noise about how it's impacting your learning environment. If there could be evidence and maybe suggestions, like maybe if you said, if the student fails the first quarter, maybe they have a hearing and remove them from the class or something like that, like meeting us halfway. But it's a great question.
Thank you.
I like the question as well because one, it gives us an opportunity to have the dialogue, but it also forces us to understand what's happening. A student that's in the class that doesn't want to be there, what happened during scheduling? When you met with your guidance counselor, did you speak to the guidance counselor about all of the requirements of the course? Were you paying attention during the curriculum fair? Because we're getting ready to pick courses now. So were you paying attention? Before you're put in a course, there are things that have happened last year and that are gonna happen this year. So just making sure if you don't wanna be there, not the kid that wants to be there and is struggling, the kid that doesn't want to be there needs to be fully informed about the requirements of the courses. Those of you in AP courses know that it's a lot of work outside of the coursework. I'm gonna push you all to start having conversations with the underclassmen that are gonna take these classes. Like, hey, AP is no joke. I'm not sure what happens in the cafeteria or in your shared spaces, but I do have a question for you. Are we allowed to ask questions too? This is my first summit. Yeah? Okay, so when you're in the courses, do you speak to the students that are not your friends and say, like, why did you take this course? Like, what, do y'all have that dialogue?
I do. When I speak to them, I usually am recommending the class.
Perfect.
So.
What about those of you in the audience? Just raise your hand if you actually speak to people about the AP courses that you take. And you can be honest or not. All right. Raise your hand if you speak to the kids that are in the class that are not behaving the way that you'd want them to behave. Be like, hey, why'd you take this class? Okay, less people. So I'm challenging you to have that conversation. Like, hey, why are you in this course?
Would you be willing to help them?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the question. We just want to make sure we get everyone's questions in, but thank you so much. It was awesome. And just so you guys also know, I think I can say confidently that, the classes, students that are in APs, those were requested classes. They're not, not requested classes, so. But thank you. We're hearing you guys. Okay.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sage Stevens. I'm in 11th grade and I'm representing the class of 2026. So as a representative of the class of 2026, I would like to ask if there could be more regular updates or a central place for scholarship information so all students like us juniors can easily find financial aid opportunities. Do you know any steps that guidance can help us for a junior year? I feel like this would really be helpful for us for our senior year next year and to plan for college.
So I'm going to start answering them. I'm going to give it to Dr. Vineyard. I know that scholarships are posted to each class's Google Classroom, so we could also email that out to students so that they're aware. But I'm going to hand the microphone over to Dr. Vineyard, who oversees the guidance office.
Thank you for your question. So, in terms of scholarships, not only are scholarships posted on the Google Classroom, but they're also announced after school. Miss Diane does it, Miss O'Neill does it after school in that announcement. They're also posted there. So it's posted on Google Classroom, and there's a verbal announcement that goes out after school. If you have questions about scholarships, you can always stop into the main office and see me, but your guidance counselor also has a list of scholarships that comes up. With applying for colleges, yes, junior year is the most important year. You know that. By the end of junior year, your college essay should be written. Your English teachers can help you with your college essay, as well as your guidance counselor. You all should be meeting with your guidance counselors regularly. They do call you down, but there are meetings that you have with your guidance counselor in sophomore year, freshman year, and junior year. They call you down, you set an appointment, and you go over your schedule. And if you have questions about your scholarships or scholarships that you want to take, you can do that. In the community, there are different organizations that offer scholarships. They're posted, guess where? In the supermarket. So when you go into Stop and Shop, they have babysitting, they definitely have dog walkers, but they also have a list of scholarships there as well. Also, in the public library, they have a list of scholarships as well. So there's tons of resources. Stop on it anytime to get a hold of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, scholarships are like, it's like shopping at the Burlington Coat Factory. Like you have to like dig and look everywhere to find them, to find something good. I don't know if that reference hit home to anybody, but like when I was growing up, we didn't have the greatest tool at your disposal today, which is the internet, right? Yeah, it was a lot more difficult back then. But I think that your question was great as well. Another is very insightful, but like a way to make your question better could have been just information about college in general. I feel like one thing that this demographic might be lacking is like family members that went to college, whereas in a lot of other social stratas, it might be more frequent. And that a lot of times, like people learn about college from their family members. Like I didn't have anyone in my family go to college, so I was like, at the end of high school, very, very ignorant about it. And I kind of had to learn on my own. But I feel like I have conversations with juniors and seniors in this school, and I am like just shocked at what they don't know about college. Unfortunately, it's like, I mean, maybe your question will create or result in like programs that, you know, teach kids more about college, but I think that it's the identifying the problem that a lot of students are like ignorant about a lot of stuff about pursuing higher education is a good starting point.
And Dr. Vader was just mentioning, we also have a college and career juniors class, and we have a college and career planning for seniors. So any juniors going to those meetings, that may be a class you may want to look into as well. But we will make sure that we email out the Google Classroom codes, and they're also on the student site for students to join.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Hi, my name is Angelina. I'm in the 11th grade. I'm representing class of 2026. My question is, can we get more scanners and doors open going into the cafeteria? And can we control the line cutting more, especially for 6th period lunch, as tech kids need to get their lunch and get out?
Okay, so we have spoken about the possibility of bringing another scanner during the 6th period is something that we're exploring. In terms of line cutting, that's something that we could look into. You know, there's obviously 2 lines. One is short and one is longer. You know, we don't have passes to, you know, cut the line. I think doing something like that would do more harm than good, if I'm being honest with you. You know, students that go to tech understand that, you know, this is a great opportunity, right? But you have to have lunch a little bit quicker. So unfortunately, you may have to, you know, go on a line that is not as long, right? Yeah, there is a lot of students in that lunch period. There are a lot of students that go to tech, but we will work on seeing if we can do something to get students in quicker. I think students who are waiting are students who don't have their ID, right? So having your ID every day will help students getting into the cafeteria quicker, because if you don't have your ID, you have to wait and you have to type in your number. I know that is timeliness, and it's a different system than last year. Last year, you can just give the person your name, so I understand it does take more time. But we are seeing more students with IDs than I've seen before, being at the door every morning. I would say about 95% of students have their ID daily, so that's pretty good. But we will definitely discuss how we can improve that wait time.
I'm also wondering if there's something we could pre-order, if you know what you're gonna have for that day, that you could have it pre-ordered, ready for pickup, little Starbucks drive-through or something like that, you know what I mean? That you know, all right, I always want the same sandwich, this is what I order. You know, is that something that could be a possibility, to pre-order something, have it ready, so you just pick it up and you're ready to go? I also just want to comment, I think, like, so many of these questions are great and purposeful, but I think I'd like to see some, you know, follow them up with some ideas that you guys may have, right? You want to see what we're doing, but you guys may have a better idea or some other creative idea that could be useful to us. So I think with each of your questions, if you could think also of a possible solution or some idea for it, that might be helpful for us too.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea also, because really the ideas come from you guys, right? So if you have any ideas about how we can improve, not right now, right? Because you may not have it now, maybe you're not ready for that, but however, our doors are open to you, any one of my administrative team, if you ever want to come in and share what you thought about or reflected. All right? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aiden Holmes. I'm in 10th grade and I'm representing the varsity cheer team. My question is, how far along is the process of sports and other clubs having access to digital payments for fundraising?
Big question all the time.
So I'm going to say I don't know the answer to that, but I will speak to, we have a district treasurer, so we can find out if that is a viable option. So that's where the starting point would be. And then that communication would come from the district treasurer, who would then guide the advisors and coaches on how that would happen, right? So I will find out about that.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Melody Colley. I am in 12th grade and I am a representative of the varsity cheer team. And my question is, how can we advocate for more teachers and administrators to come to our competitions and other smaller sports teams events? Because I feel like there's a lack of administration and teachers at those events compared to other sports.
So I will say I was really upset that I was not able to go to your cheer event on the Sunday. Unfortunately, I had my niece's first birthday. Otherwise, I would have been there. So I think that you're heard, and I think we will communicate your feelings, and maybe we can brainstorm as an admin team or as a team here of ways that we can, you know, try to get more people out to your events, you know, because I think all of our students are awesome. And, you know, speaking of the cheerleading, you think about what you guys have done in the past, even 3 years is totally incredible. You guys are like little superheroes flying in the air. You know, so yeah, people need to see that. But you know, maybe we can think about ways that we can show the staff what's happening. We are throwing around ideas for things that we may do prior to the Christmas break. The holiday break, you know, I'm wondering if we're able to showcase a little bit of that, you know, and then you could, you know, kind of then give information about when the next performance is or those things. I know our broadcasting club, they are working on doing videos, and I think it'd be awesome that they send like a teaser, right, and to all the classrooms of, you know, mini highlights of what's happening, then with your dates and things like that, because people need to see what's happening and need to see the great things that you guys are doing. So we'll work together on that.
Again, go to your teacher, hand them papers, hey, come, I want you there, come see that, you know, like advertise yourselves, little flyers, little something, so that they know that you want them there, you know, use your words, know that they want you there. Oh.
Nobody can hear you.
Oh. I'm sorry. So I think you need to go and bring flyers and talk to your teachers and let them know that you want them there. Everybody thinks, oh, maybe someone else is going, maybe someone else is going, I don't need to go. No, 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 you need to go. We want you there. Here's our dates. Come cheer us on. Come support us. It'd make us so happy. Use your words, communicate your feelings, and, let it be known that you want support, that you want everyone to see, because you guys have been phenomenal. So great. So excited.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kayla, and I'm in the 12th grade, and I'll be representing Key Club by myself. And I would like to know what is being done in order to prevent a repetition of the graduation rates from June of 2024. I would like to know what the measures are that are going to be taken to ensure that more than 74% of us graduate, and can we do it without negatively affecting the students that are doing the right thing?
So there are so many ways to attack this, right? And it starts with school culture, right? Students wanting to be in a building, wanting to be in their classes, wanting to be engaged, right? Also is safety, right? When students do not feel safe, it is difficult to learn, all right? So a top priority for us is to make sure that this building is a safe atmosphere, right? We look at lessons. We have been, as an administrative team, running professional developments on student engagement in the classroom and things of that nature. When students are engaged and they're enjoying what they're learning, they want to be in the class and they recall. In terms of data, taking a look at where students are struggling, right, and how are we using that data to drive instruction or to what we call differentiate for students. So there are many ways to improve the graduation rate, there are many different ways that we are working on this. Thank you. Also attendance, right? Attendance is huge. So you guys are aware now we finally have the automatic calls, right, that are going out, and that's a big deal, just having that accountability piece. We have Mr. Camarado, our attendance teacher, who is here as well, who's just beginning, and that's going to help as well. So we really need to attack it in different ways. You guys, right? I talk about being a positive advocate to your peers. So knowing a friend who maybe isn't doing the right thing, having an accountability partner, right? Something else that we've been doing is developing what we call we teams for our students who are struggling. And they've been identifying 3 adults in the building who they can go to. Everyone needs that accountability partner, whether it's a coach, whether it's a guidance counselor, teacher, administrator. So we need to find that person that's going to hold them accountable. Does that make sense? Yes. All right, thank you.
My name is Jesus Barrios. I'm a senior, and I'm representing Rho Kappa Honor Society. I wanted to talk about academic performance and recognition at Amityville. Right now, our academic stats aren't as strong as other high schools on Long Island. Our average SAT is around 800, and many students are struggling to pass the Regents. My question today is going to be focused on what the school can do to better motivate and incentivize students academically. Although our school's average performance might look low, it doesn't reflect all of the hard work that's happening in this building. There are many students who put in a great effort and achieve high academic results. However, the system we have for currently recognizing and rewarding those students and achievements is pretty minimal. Right now, students on the honor roll just get a certificate and their name's posted on the hallway. That's about it. And sometimes the certificates come really late and they don't even get it at all. For students who work hard, this lack of recognition is really discouraging. Incentivizing and rewarding academic performance doesn't have to be anything huge or unreasonable. For example, back in middle school, honor roll students would get a quarterly breakfast or lunch celebration, and small things like that really matter. The closest thing we have to that right now is the, I think, perfect attendance program, which from what I've heard gives out like coupons and stuff like that for perfect attendance. But perfect attendance shouldn't be the only thing rewarded. especially because attending school every single day is really difficult for a lot of people. Expanding this type of recognition to high honor roll students through things like lunch celebrations, breakfast, and even public recognition on the social media and the website. It would look good it's good for the students and also look good for the school's reputation. What I think needs the most improvement is AP performance, recognition for AP performance. Passing an AP exam is extremely tough, and many students in our school work hard to actually pass them. But once they pass, there's no acknowledgement for their achievements other than the AP score. We have a lot of AP scholars in this room and in the building, which is an award given by College Board for passing 3 AP exams, and they just go unrecognized. And I think these accomplishments need to be celebrated in the ways that I mentioned before. So my question to sum all of that up is, how is the school currently incentivizing academic performance, and are there ways we could expand or improve the system to encourage more students to work hard and take pride in their achievements?
Thank you, Jesus. So again, in terms of incentives are something that we could work on together. We are having an honor roll breakfast this year. Just so everybody's aware, we are having an honor roll ceremony and breakfast. Obviously, the first quarter just ended. The APTC is sponsoring that, so we're very excited about that. But we also need to think about ways to recognize not only honor roll, but improved academic performance, right? So we are receptive to ideas, and we will be discussing that. In terms of AP scholars and performance, you're 100% right. In terms of recognizing students, we need to do a better job of that. When you get the AP scores, for the most part, it's during the summer, right? So we need to make sure that, I don't think it's too late now, but that when students come back to school in September, that we were recognizing those hard efforts, and even for students who graduated, right? Who are taking, multiple AP exams. Like that is, first is an achievement to complete these classes, number one. But, getting those scores of a 3 or higher in multiple classes is certainly something that needs to be better recognized and shared. So you're correct, we need to do a better job of that. Yeah, I agree with everything that you said, and we'll continue to work with the student council and student groups of how we can better celebrate things that are going well, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Christian Reyes. I'm from representative for Real Kappa, and I want to ask, instead, I know you guys are really good with the AP scheduling and everything, but I want to ask about regular classes. About every other student who doesn't want to go to college, or they want to go into a specialized career. Is there any way to improve that?
Oh, there we go.
So we are exploring different course opportunities within the school that we can offer for different types of trades. Obviously, raise your hand if you go to BOCES here. Okay, so that is a great opportunity. Those of you that are in the program can share what a great opportunity that is. So we had for the sophomores, we had an assembly earlier this year where BOCES representative came, right, and explained the opportunities. There's also a trip to BOCES. So a lot of those trades that you were referring to, we are very lucky that we have several opportunities for students to go to BOCES. So I'm going to say that is definitely there. To be transparent, sometimes there's a student who is, in the 9th grade who did not do well, right? Did not earn credits or earn minimal credits. Yet at that point it's difficult because they need every class in their schedule. It's almost playing catch up, right? So they may be missing out on some of these opportunities, if they fall behind. But what we need to do is we need to try to stop that early. I think there are a lot of opportunities. Maybe we need to do a better job of communicating those. But again, that also happens with the students in the audience who go to BOCES. And if you're in a cafeteria during period 6, you know that we have about 160 students in the school who go to BOCES, right? So that communication needs to happen within to peers as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Erin. I'm in 12th grade and I'm representing the National Honor Society. And my question is about the clubs that are picked to run. I'm a member of the Whack Pack Club, and it's not running this year, and I just want to know why. I did attend a board meeting, and I did ask them about that, and they said that it was you guys who picked a list of clubs to send up to Central that were approved, and Whack Pack wasn't on the list. And I'm just wondering why it wasn't picked to run, because we do have great attendance and we do a lot of stuff in the community, and we've been asking for the past few months and we haven't really gotten anywhere with it. So just my question is, like, what's the process of choosing the clubs that run and why Whack Pack was not chosen this year?
So I will have to reflect. Many of you know Ms. Stevens, who was the principal last year. I'll have to reflect and have a conversation with her to discuss, so there were, obviously, as you're aware, Whack Pack was not the only club that didn't run this year. However, I would have to have more discussion together to figure out what would be running next year. And we could talk about how we can also get student input on that. So I guess that's my comment for now on that. I think that student voice is important, and we will, to the best extent possible, have that for the school year of 25-26.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, hello, my name is Amelia Charrington, and I am in the 12th grade, and I'm also representing National Honor Society. My question is, why don't seniors have the option for a free period rather than having unnecessary classes on their schedule to use it for study, having access to the library to study? Because I know a lot of seniors, they're put into classes because they have all the credits and they put into elective like arts, natural disasters, classes like that, but they don't want to be there. So I think instead you do that, we could have like a free period for them to use the study to work on like the college apps and stuff like that.
So that's something we can definitely discuss for 25-26. We want students to be in classes that they're interested in, and I think that's part of our whole course request process of meeting with the guidance counselor to hope that students are picking classes that they are interested in. I know last year we did surveys with some of the departments to capture student interest, and this current year, we ran, I think, 2 to 4 new classes based on student input. So yeah, that's a tough question because we also want students to. You may not know you may be interested in a certain elective, right? Also, we have had modified schedules, right, for seniors who, for whatever reason, were not interested in, I guess, in an elective, and so we did have many modified schedules for seniors. But yeah, I think it's we need to continue to survey the students, and we need to find what students are interested in. In terms of study hall, I guess that would be a conversation. I think there are pros and cons, right? We were talking about the AP classes in terms of having students in the classes who maybe are not paying attention or whatever the case is. I've been here for 18 years. Many of you lived through the when we had the block schedule and we had what was the period called? The seminar period, which was embedded in the schedule. Many of you were in those seminar periods, right? So there are many students that weren't on task, right? So it's difficult to offer something like study halls where you want to be in there to study and focus, but you may end up with a similar issue, or maybe not. I'm just looking at both sides and speaking to you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say that was a great question as well. I think that I've had conversations with students about that exact idea, AP students. And what Dr. Cardone said is probably one of the biggest obstacles to creating or allowing students to have study halls. If you open the door and it's just 20 students studying and, preparing, doing work for the AP classes, that would be ideal. But right, what we did have under seminar was not that. So that's, maybe like some type of earning a study hall. Like if you were, but then you run into issues with like fairness and equity, and students would complain that why can't I have that? But yeah.
Thank you. It's something we could discuss. I think, you guys are all very bright and smart, so you understand that there are pros to things and there are cons to things, and then just taking everything together and then making what we feel is the best decision, or what everyone feels is the best decision for students.
Hi, my name is Heidi Chavez. I'm in 11th grade and I'm representing the World Language Honor Society. I've been realizing that most of these honor societies are having a lack of funding. We start out with $0 and we're expected to just progressively make our own funds, which I think can be a little bit discouraging to some students because, well, since we don't have anything to start on, we don't have a base, we can't encourage kids to because we have so many other things to do. There's no time to start from the beginning. My proposal would be for every honor society to start out with a base amount. I was thinking about $500. I feel like with this amount of money, we could encourage students to use it efficiently and promote their honor society, and that way the school can focus on our education and also school spirit and all these things.
So I'll say that, again, I've been here for 18 years. I was a coach, right? And, no clubs have, a balance, right, at this time. But what I find is, and I know that some of you in the room are hearing me, is that sometimes there's not enough students within that organization who are helping, right? So you have, a few students who are carrying a lot of the weight. So I think it's getting more students involved, right? I think, you have like Miss Amy, who's right here. You look at what the senior classes do. I've never seen that type of fundraising, that type of action happening. But it comes from, students that are motivated and want things, right? So, I think it comes down to, students getting together, motivating each other, finding the time, right? So, we used to do car washes on Saturdays. We used to sell the car wash tickets, as some of you guys did this year. But it's really creating that family of, we are going to do this together, right? So that's what I would say. You have to find more passionate students within the organization to assist with fundraising.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I do think a lot of you, and especially the core people that I see here, are involved in a lot of different groups. So many will be in 3 or 4 different after-school clubs and programs. So, like we were talking, we have to make sure that our class meeting isn't the same day as one of the other meetings, because then, half the kids aren't there and who's not coming. So you guys have stretched very, very thin, involved in wonderful things, doing great things, but we do need to encourage other people to come and be involved and do things in each of your clubs, because, you know, many hands make light work, and the more people we have, the more fun we have, the more money we can make, the more things we can do. And again, we want that positive, positive, positive cycle. Good things lead to good things, lead to good things. So encourage more people to get involved in all of your clubs.
Hi, my name is Ryan Daly. I'm an 11th grader, and I'm also a representative of the National World Language Honor Society. One thing that I've noticed is that the attendance rate is low, and I don't mean by kids who just choose not to come to school, but the kids who do come to school and choose to skip and walk around in the hallways. I understand that ISS is one of their consequences, but what is being done to help these kids academically? And it also leads into the fact that there's not a lot of career planning help with these kids, especially if they're not taking the college planning career class, because not everyone can. And also that by being thrown in ISS, these kids are just missing out on more and more work, and they're not making it up.
Yes, that's a very, I wish I had a magic wand to you know, there's only so many tools that we have, right? But I think we spoke about a lot of them already. And I think it's that accountability partner. I think it's finding an adult in the building who they connect with. So we talked about the we teams, right? So no one wants to suspend students, right? And I don't think that taking a student out of class is effective. We want them in the classroom, okay? I will tell you that for some students it works, and for some students it doesn't work. So, you know, sitting in the seats, right, it may only look like students are being suspended. We were having conferences with parents, we were having conferences with guidance counselors, we were exploring different options, different schedules. So I think there's a lot of behind the scenes work that students may not see, and I promise you that we're doing the best that we can. You know, but we can do better, we could always do better. You know, we've increased the amount of hall sweeps that we're doing. You know, I think for the most part, students are in class, right? You do have some walkers, and I feel like, you know, it's not increasing, right? Because we're not gonna let that happen. But it's kind of like finding that line between accountability, right? Because we have to hold students accountable, and discipline versus conversations versus support staff, we teams, other ideas by the audience, right? You know, finding connections, finding a career, all those things. So I agree with you 100%, but I think that's something we need to continue to do better at and work on together for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Janice Marte, and I'm representing softball. And an issue that I have been seeing is the loop buses. Due to our budget, it was cut off, but some student athletes don't have a way to get home, and it's hard for them finding a way home. And sometimes we come home late, come to the school late at like 8 or 9, so they're just stuck. So are we finding a way to potentially get the loop buses back?
So it's not a secret of, you know, this year, things were cut, right? And the district, or I would say, not the district, but the building, the school district, you know, really worked on how can we provide a sound education to students with opportunities for classes, sending students to BOCES, offering still the same amount of AP classes, right? And then balancing that with not removing any athletics, right? So there are tough decisions. I can't really speak to the loop bus. That's something I can just discuss with Mr. Farkas. But I know that there were some difficult decisions that were made, you know, to not take from other areas. So, you know, that is tough, right? Not having a loop bus. I coached, right? So when you get back at We used to go to East Hampton and get back, late, right, late. So not to have a loop bus, that's difficult. So I can talk to Mr. Farkas about it. I don't know if that is going to change. But, again, the big picture of things, I think what we've still offered this year, we've still offered a lot, and there had to be some areas that had to be cut back, but I will talk to Mr. Farkas about it. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Jason Cheka, and I'm the sophomore and representing the class of 2027. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but most of the buses, like mostly the 3 o'clock one, usually are too full. And most kids are getting left behind because of this, that stay extra time at school. So I just wanted to know how you're gonna fix this problem.
So let me ask you something, Jason. Since you take the 3 o'clock bus, are you finding, just a general statement? Well, let me switch that. So let me tell you that's something that we've done in the past and something that seems like we're gonna have to implement again. So we have in the past had bus passes. So if you attend an extra help, you get a bus pass, and that's like your ticket to get on the bus. And you do have students that get back from BOCES. So what we've done in the past is we've had those rosters, given those rosters to the bus drivers. So if that's not happening, I'm going to make sure that is happening because that will help with the late buses for sure. So that's something that we will look at immediately because that'll help alleviate that. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Queen, and I'm also representing the class of 2027. And I don't really have a question, but it's like a suggestion, like regarding like the pass system here. Like I was really like wondering would there be like any changes regarding the pass system, like with when you go to the bathroom, you have to like wait for like someone to come back, like. So like I was just suggesting like can there be like any changes regarding that?
Yes, I'll tell you what some of our plans are. I guess I could release this to the school. So what we're going to do is, we can talk about the bathroom. So we are going to provide, here's the current situation. You guys see a lot of students have the red passes in their pockets, right? And we know that, there's a bunch of passes that we need to solve that issue. But we are going to provide like an emergency pass to teachers. And then once that pass comes back, then it's going to be thrown out in the garbage. We don't want all these passes circulating, and they're going to say bathroom only. In addition, we're going to start changing not the bathroom pass, not the plastic ones, but all other passes. It's going to be a different color every month. So that means all those red passes everyone has, all those blue passes are going to be gone, right? And then we're going to only have a different color every month, and that's going to help with students in the hallway. That's going to help with students, going to the bathroom that shouldn't because of them showing a pass that they probably wrote on. Also, probably next week, we're going to have scanners at the bathrooms, right? So students will have their IDs, just like in the morning, and they will scan going in. So all those things. So there's a book that I'll tell you guys a little bit about it called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. Have you guys ever heard of that author, anybody? So, and this is the way I look at this building, making small changes here and there, right? Making changes to the pass system, making changes to the culture, right? And at some point, you don't know when it happens, but everything tips in a positive direction, right? So these are just one of the things that we're going to be changing. We're hoping that it's also going to help the hallway. So you really don't know how those things impact the school. We talk about student engagement in the classroom. We talk about a pass system. We talk about getting students attendance with the robocall. So we're hoping all those things help. I know that was a lot more input than the question that you asked. But to answer your question, we are going to be rolling out like an emergency pass. We only want one student leaving the classroom at a time, right? Because we don't want students in the hallway, because we're talking about hall walkers, right? So we want less students in the halls. We want students in the classroom. If there's an emergency, there will be an emergency pass, but there will also be tracking via the scans of, if we have a student who is going out, for non-emergency reasons, right? 7 out of 9 periods, then there needs to be a conversation, right? Because now there could be a student in the class who it is an emergency, right? But then we have other students abusing that privilege. Does that make sense? So we're going to attack it in a bunch of different ways.
I'm passionate about this topic. I feel like the hallways of the school are kind of like your gut. Like if they're not healthy, your body's not going to be healthy. I keep giving like horrible analogies at this thing, but I feel like from the tone of your question or your comment, it sounds like you would favor a more laissez-faire approach to bathroom passes, which I think that is not the direction that we want to head. I've had to go to the bathroom the whole time I've been sitting here, but I'm fine. And I think that it's like, from a teacher's perspective, if I'm the only teacher up here, the more laxed it is with the bathrooms, the more my job is difficult. I'll go to a class and I will be, the first 5 minutes of the class, be attacked by 12 different students to leave the room. And it just, everything I have to do, take attendance, settle it down, start doing a do now, it makes my job more difficult. And I think that if there was accountability as far as like if there was agency and everybody that left the room was going to use the bathroom and come back and that's it, this question wouldn't exist, this problem wouldn't exist. So I think that we need to solve the problem, which is the fact that 75% of the students that are leaving the classroom are not using the facilities and returning to learn. Once we solve that problem, we'll be able to come up with a more responsible system that results in more freedom. But I think we have to learn to walk before we could run.
Thank you, Queen.
Thank you.
So I know too, when this all comes to play and everybody needs to have the ID, that I'm going to get the mad rush of, I have to pee and I don't have an ID. So this is going to be a dilemma for me. Also, the regular passes that we've been using, that they come in with, that's a bathroom pass, and I say that's not the nurse pass, you need to have a written pass. So I know we're going to clarify some of that, maybe lock my door for a little bit, lock my bathroom for a little bit, but to quell that.
We'll have a similar situation, at in the morning. I would say 95% of students have their ID. 99% or 98% of students have a picture of it, right? And then we'll be able to type in they have the number pads, right? We'll be able to type in the ID number at the bathroom. Hello?
Hi. I'm going to take this out because that's easier. My name is Delaney. I'm a senior, and I'm here representing girls soccer, but I'm in many clubs and sports throughout the school year. I feel personally that there are two aspects to education, that are in and out experiences of the classroom. And I think that since the budget crisis last year, which we all know of, that's impeding it very much on the students here now. I think that experiences like educational field trips that we're missing out on are key. So what are you guys planning to do to make sure that students get those key experiences to our education?
Yeah, field trips has been difficult. Even if a field trip, there's no cost of field trip, it's really not no cost, right? Because students need to get to a field trip. So I know that, for some trips we're exploring, possible ways for transportation. We're not in a good situation, with transportation for field trips. When you talk about, look, I could think of, we have at least 150 classes here, probably more. I could think of half of them. There could be trips that would be aligned to the class, or more, and engage students. So, I know it's not a popular statement, but, there are also virtual field trips and things like that that can occur in the classroom. There's also, different ways to acquire information that are authentic. So yeah, that is a tough question. Also, these are experiences that although maybe the school doesn't have right now, that doesn't mean the student can't go to, a place of work to shadow. I don't know, I'm just giving an example. My brother's a physical therapist, so I think of him, or shadow someone at a physical therapy office, or going out on your own and seeing who we can connect with in the community. And if you think about that, that may actually even help that person down the road, making those connections, right, with people out there. So I don't have a good answer for the field trips, but I think hopefully there's some also self-motivation within students to go out there, to find out information, and to gather those things. But I agree with you.
Okay, I also have one more quick question.
Sure.
So recently I had a really good opportunity to go to Unified Summit at another school and learn about all the things that are done at other schools in and out of our district. And they have many opportunities for their schools to learn about special education students and how it impacts them everyday life. And they have a unified day. They have multiple sports. We only have one. And so I was wondering if you guys are making sure that they have an equal opportunity at our school.
So I think that they have unified soccer, right? They unified basketball, those two sports, right? They have two. I'm not saying that that's all, but we can do more. I think there was also the Special Olympics that just happened too. But I think in terms of Mr. Farkas, I know that we are all huge advocates of the program, that we could communicate to him what other schools are doing, and doesn't mean that we can't do it, right? I do love what you just said about learning about special education students. I kind of can look at that as almost like an education class, right? Because, I believe all the teachers or former teachers here, there was that type of educational class where you learned about special needs and things like that. So I think that would be definitely a good idea for the future of having some type of course like that in high school.
Okay, and one last statement. A lot of things that you guys have talked about are with the students, right? We need to do stuff. But I just want you to know that as a student athlete, I wake up at 6:30 a.m., I get to school at 7, school ends at 2. At 2:15 or 2:30, depending on the season, I have practice until 4:30. And then at 5 o'clock, I have work until 9 or 10. I barely have time to do homework some days, and sometimes I don't. And some teachers accommodate it, some don't. And so it ties back to a study hall. It ties back to I have to go to this club and now I have to do this with this club to try and make everyone more wanting to go to this club. So it's hard sometimes for us student athletes and people who are really involved.
I agree with you. There's a lot of involvement, a lot of time. I get it, I'm old now, but lived it, right? It's a lot of time. You're not even talking about the training outside the sports season. But the research does show, right, that students that are involved in extracurricular activities do better in school. Why? Because they're connected, right? So even though we're finding ourselves very busy, you become more connected. You have that support group that we have, and the majority of students do better because of those connections. So I applaud you and all student athletes and students who are involved, because I know that it's difficult, but I'm glad that you're making the best high school experience you can for yourself.
Okay, but also if we are student athletes and you're stressing a lot of small things, like if I don't bring my ID one day because I forgot it, because I took it out of my bag to do one thing, that makes life really stressful. So every small thing that's stressed here, it can make it a lot harder for us.
Thank you so much. So just comment on, the student ID, right? I just want you guys to know, that it's very difficult, like when you're enforcing a rule, it has to be consistent, right? In terms of student IDs in the building and bathrooms and all those rules. You have to understand that a student who is 3 people behind you, right? I think you know the type of situation that puts the administrator or staff member in if we would say, okay, you go ahead and you can't. So I think you guys are smart and you understand what position that puts administrators and teachers in.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that she sounds like a great candidate for like study hall. I don't know if you have any classes that you don't need. Okay, like I have a lot of my students, they finish school, they go straight to work, they work until, midnight and they come home. I've heard that story. It's a sad story and it's unfortunate. A lot of the students that couldn't even, can't play sports because they have to work. I think that all of the stress that you were talking about at the end, get ready, because I know you're college bound, right? I know you. And even if you don't play collegiate sports, if you do not work, you're going to have 5 times the amount of stress you have right now in college. So it's probably a good time now to start getting acclimated to stress.
And manage it well, yes. Having different ways to manage your stress. You guys are obviously next. I just wanted to get a feel of how many more questions that we have. How many more? Only 2 more? Okay, great. 3, 5, okay. All right, cool. All right.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Hi. My name is Adonis Lyons. I'm representing the class of 2025 as the class president.
I'm Tiffany. I'm also a senior. I'm the vice president of the class of 2025. So before we ask our question, we just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Cardone and the administration team for being so open to all of our ideas and new things, like, for example, the senior day we had a couple of weeks ago and the unity day, all those things, new things that they're very open to. So we appreciate that. And also thank you to Miss Amy, our very wonderful advisor. We're getting a lot of stuff done this year, and we're really paving the way for the future classes to come this year.
And we love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just also wanted to say that for me personally, I know that everybody gives up their opinion and everybody gives up their voice differently. Me personally, I go directly to the source all the time. I'm probably in the main office about 6 times a day. I kid you not. So I just want to say this administration team, for my 4 years being here, this has probably been the 1 year where I think that, I'm just going to wait for the bell. This has been the year where I feel like senior voices are being heard. I feel like everyone's voices are being heard. Okay, so, yeah. Do we continue?
If they can hear you.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, so, I think I'm just gonna.
Physical today after school.
School physicals are today after school in Nurse Amy's office. Also, there's a yearbook club meeting at 2:05 p.m. in room 117. Have a good day, Warriors.
Okay, so my question today is, how can we both, as a community, with both staff and students, how can we increase the advertisement for the events that go on in the school? I also want to say, how can we fix the amount of student input that's put into the events rather than just putting together events for students to attend? Because I do feel as if, the students are heard, I feel like the events that we do are fun. For example, the seniors were given the opportunity to have a senior day, which was probably one of the funnest, I know that's not a word, but it was a great event. But I feel like the advertisement, when it comes down to the events going out, like Spirit Week that we just had not too long ago, I feel like the advertisement wasn't good, and I feel like the advertisement that we've been having for the past couple of events could be way better. So how as a school community, not just them, but how can we all fix it?
So I think that something we alluded to earlier is I think we need to kind of like make a timeline, right? We have these great ideas, and we'll say by this day we have holiday week planned out, and then just blasting it out through your club Instagrams, through our Instagrams here in the building, through email, and again, I'm open to other ways, right? And in terms of student input, there are some things that, so we have, I know, our APTC is running the dance, right? So they came up with a few categories, right? And then the students were able to pick, the categories. So, like I said, we are going to do something during holiday week, which we'll be talking to members of the student body to figure out what kind of events or things like that we can do. If there are ways that we can do better in terms of communication, just let us know, because we want you guys to be involved.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
So
And then Mr. Carlos is going to speak. Go ahead, you, and then.
So just to add to that a little bit, although I am new, and thank you for welcoming me, everyone. You guys are awesome, by the way. From what I've seen in the past 2-3 weeks, everybody has a very positive mentality, and I really enjoy that. But just to add to the communication, it comes down to what you guys are doing right now and implementing. You're paving the way, you're paving the road, right, for the upcoming classes. So right now, it's not going to be easy. But as it progresses, it's going to become easier as time and the years go on. So what you guys are doing, just keep doing what you're doing, communicate with your other clubs, and that's the best way to advertise. Create posters, whatever you got to do within your clubs, you got to do that, and you got to post them up all over the schools. And it's got to be, probably two to 3 weeks in advance, so everybody knows what's going on. Hey, I'm new, and half the time I'm finding out the day of what's going on because I don't see any posters. That's advertisement, posters, right? You guys do it on the loudspeaker, that's awesome, that's great, but posters are the main way to go because, in communicate through your clubs, your posters, and you'll see, positive progression throughout, and as you keep doing it, you'll see as the years go on, when you come back as an alumni, maybe in 2-3 years to say what's up, you're going to see a huge change in the culture. So just keep doing what you're doing. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I also want to add, maybe we can do announcements in the cafeteria at lunchtime, because they may be there, kids are going to be there eating. You might be able to get them to hear and listen. I don't think much of anybody listens, though I do say to the announcements. But finding another way, maybe during lunchtime or something we can have. If we have a PA system, maybe music playing, and then a little bit of a update of announcements of things coming up for them.
One other thing I wanted to add was me and Ms. Wilshire actually spoke about this in the beginning of the year. And we said it would be a great idea to have, and I know everybody's doing 100 different things, but if within the student council, if you had one member from each club go there, and then you kind of have that articulation, right? Then they go back to their clubs, and then you have, well, first, you have more collaboration in terms of what's happening, but then you go out to your clubs, and now we're hitting all the different groups communicating. So that's one recommendation I would say may help also, if it's not happening already.
So I attend tech in the AM,
Okay.
for the AM session, so I'm not really here for the morning announcements or the general announcements
Yeah.
period. But in previous years, I did realize that a lot of the teachers for specific subjects would announce stuff and make announcements for upcoming things happening. I do think that was one of the best ways to get the announcements out, because everybody has English or math or a social studies class.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And phys ed class also.
Good morning. My name is Sydney McPherson, and I'm in 11th grade.
Good morning. My name is Shania Bramwell, and I'm in 12th grade. We are the representatives and captains of the varsity girls indoor track and field. And due to the lack of the athletic representatives on the panel today, we are now voicing for the concerns of the general student body.
During our homecoming spirit week, students were disheartened and upset at the lack of a pajama day. The decision was out of the control of the student council, and we asked why the spirit day was not allowed, because it was like right off the bat, no pajama day before we even considered the other like spirit days. So we just want to know why.
So I think that we have done a lot in terms of communication, and we've had a lot of spirit weeks, and we had a lot of criteria. You know, that was a collaborative decision with our administrative team you know, again, I've been here for 18 years. You know, sometimes pajama days have caused difficulty in the past, so that's why we did not have it this year. And that just comes from experience. So, you know, there were many other choices, right? I don't know where that choice even ranked, or if it was voted on, I'm not sure. But I think that we have been very receptive to students. You know, we can't say yes to everything, and sometimes we just need to understand that we're trying to make the best decisions for the student body. You know, so I guess that's what my comment is there.
To follow up, we hope for the green light to be able to allow pajama day for our Christmas holiday themed Spirit Week, because Christmas holiday times, you want to be comfy, and that's one of the easiest ways to promote school spirit. So do you have an opinion on that right now?
Not right now. We'll discuss it as an admin team, and we'll let you know.
Okay, so we thank you for your time.
We appreciate you guys.
Good morning. My name is Christian Chicas. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. Me and
Michael right here.
We're going to be representing student council.
Can I just stop you for 1 second? So we've done a lot of new things this year, and now that Christian is up here, he knows what I'm going to talk about. We had, since I've been here, the first time ever, we had a Hispanic Heritage Night, and Christian was the MC, and you guys are both MCs, and Jesus, and it was fantastic. So I just want to thank you guys for that, because I think it was an awesome night. So just, again, we talk about culture, we talk about engagement, and, you know, and we know that it's going to double or triple next year because of how well that went this year. So go ahead.
First, I wanted to thank all the student representatives we have out here. Thank you for coming out on behalf of student council, behalf of your own clubs, to come and speak about the issues. My question was, how can we create a more informative environment with the students as well? Because me personally, this year, I'm content. I know that administration is doing things, I know they're making efforts, and I'm happy with the changes that I'm seeing. But there are some students that resent administration because they're just uninformed. Like, could we have a board, maybe something to know what administration is doing? Like, if Cardone just has some random thing, random board, just your name on there, what you've been working on, like updates to inform us. Because honestly, most of this discontent comes from us being uninformed. I also wanted to create something like maybe we have a Google Doc on the school website, because these issues just don't pop up just because Unity Summit is coming up. They're consistent issues, or they're short-lived issues throughout the entire school year. So maybe students, maybe like me, we have all these students who are honors, APs, all of that. But what about students unlike us? Students that might be a little more disruptive. Well, why are they disruptive? Can we give them a platform too to speak out about this? Because this isn't just an issue with us as representatives. This is an issue as us as a student body.
I think those are all great ideas. You know, one thing we mentioned earlier is that when we do the parent square messages, we'll also start emailing that out to the students, so the students see the message that I'm also sending to the parents. So it's something that we will start immediately. I loved what you said about, you know, other students maybe having their voices heard that aren't here, so I'm hearing you, maybe we can do something like that. I will tell you, last week when I met with all the students in the cafeteria, the whole pass system I talked about, that came from those conversations with students. So, but I think that students need to know that we are available, right? That they can email us, and we will make appointments, or they can go to the main office, and they can set appointments with us. You know, I would tell you that, you know, we do meet with students. A lot of you don't see it because you're in class, right? But we're meeting with students various times throughout the day, sometimes periods and periods. So, but we want to hear everyone. So if you have something that you want to share with us, or you know, our doors are open, we can make appointments. I love what you're saying. We need to capture opinions of not only the students here, but students who may not be here, who aren't involved. Because, you know, when I look at the students here, everyone, you know, is doing academically well for the most part, I think. Sometimes it's the voices that aren't heard are the ones we need to hear, right? Because we need to know how we can support them better. So it's really touching home for me, so I thank you for that information.
So one thing that I really like that Dr. Cardone does are the candid conversations. And maybe we need to promote that a little bit better, but it was on Instagram. I really would love for all of you to like, follow, share our Instagram, because that's where most of the information is. But it was posted on Instagram. Maybe we can do a better job of posting it on the student site, but those candid conversations are just, it's this. And he does it in the cafeteria during every lunch period once a quarter, and it just happened last week. So he is creating a platform to hear you, and all of the admin team listens to the concerns of the students and the families daily, as he said. But those candid conversations that come up right before report cards every quarter, yes, that's strategic. Please make sure that you encourage everyone to attend them, because that's where they have direct access to their principal in the cafeteria. And if they don't have a lunch, they can make an appointment to see him at that time.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Was that the last scheduled question? I want to give you guys a round of applause. You guys are awesome.
Okay. Well, I first have to really thank all of our panelists. I know every one of you has a crazy busy schedule, so taking your time out to listen to our students is so appreciated. I also want to thank Mr. Zwirling and Mr. Grace from Broadcasting for live streaming for us today. And all of the student representatives, first of all, I'm going to stalk you to come to Student Council if you're not already, because that's the purpose of Student Council, is to represent the students in the building. So the more representation we have, the better. I want to thank everybody who participated as a club representative today. We all, I'm sure students, faculty, we all hear complaints all the time, but complaints don't change anything. This is the beginning to change, right? If you don't communicate to the right people, then we can't make those changes. If we've never heard these issues, we might not know their issues. So the fact that you're here today advocating for change is the first step in a process, and we all know that change sometimes does take time. Hopefully we'll reach that tipping point, as Dr. Cardone mentioned. But I am looking very much forward to our spring summit so we can follow up on some of these topics and look at some of the changes that we've seen from the fall to the spring and see what other work needs to be done. So I thank you all for being part of today.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll have breakfast for you, period 5, right? So.
What's that?
Breakfast period 5.
Yeah, breakfast period 5. We're going to do a debrief.
Thank you again, everyone. Have a great day.